It's important to understand your campus policies before you have sex.
Reach out to your fraternity and sorority life advisor or your student conduct office to determine your campus's policies regarding consent.
And then share those policies with your brothers and sisters.
Let's unpack two of the more common campus policies regarding consent and the consumption of alcohol. The no alcohol policy and the incapacitation standard. These are not the only policies on college campuses, but they are what a number of campuses are using today.
The no alcohol policy. With a campus policy like this, from the moment someone consumes any alcohol, that person is no longer able to provide valid consent to engage in any type of sexual activity for the period of time that alcohol is in your system. So, if your campus does have this policy, it is very black and white. If you or your sexual partner have been drinking, then you cannot provide valid consent for that sexual encounter.
The incapacitation standard. With a campus policy like this, even if they have been drinking, individuals are able to participate in sexual activity and give valid consent, unless one or both of the individuals are or become incapacitated.
Incapacitation is the inability, temporarily or permanently, to give consent because the individual is mentally and/or physically impaired due to alcohol or other drug consumption, either voluntarily or involuntarily, or the individual is unconscious, asleep, or otherwise unaware that the sexual activity is occurring. Incapacitation is a state beyond drunkenness or intoxication. Some indicators of incapacitation may include, but are not limited to, lack of control over physical movements, being unaware of circumstances or surroundings, or being unable to communicate for any reason.
While this standard may seem a bit less black and white, it does allow for college students to give valid consent when one or both parties have been consuming a moderate amount of alcohol.
But when one party crosses the threshold from buzzed, drunk, or intoxicated to incapacitated, then valid consent can no longer be given. And any previous consent given for that sexual encounter is now no longer valid.
With this policy, it is important to understand that if a sexual assault complaint results from a sexual encounter where one or both partners were under the influence of alcohol, the investigation and ultimate determination of whether someone was incapacitated will not be made by you. It will be made by a third party.
An administrator, a hearing panel, or a Title IX coordinator will determine if you were incapacitated, or if a reasonable person would have known that the person that you were with was incapacitated.
Now, in order to make all of this a bit easier to remember, in order for consent to be given, it must be able to be taken away.
That means that at the moment of the night when your partner's decision-making becomes impaired, even if consent was given, it is no longer valid.
And remember, your campus policies are still there, even when you're headed to formal and the beach.
Please contact your campus conduct officer to determine your campus's policies on consent and consent when consuming alcohol.
Then share these policies with your chapter. Saying, "I didn't know that was our policy," is not considered an acceptable explanation when involved in a campus conduct hearing. And remember, it is never okay to blame the survivor.